Hey allies, this is Willie. It's May 1st and we're out here inoculating a red maple stump or giant totem or something. This is about 20 feet tall and it's a tree that fell down last fall, and just getting around to inoculating it this spring. So there's some tools that you're going to want. The first two is a chainsaw and some protective gear. Keep you safe. The other two big things is a hammer and some nails. So you just want nails to be attaching these cookies back. And then the last thing is some spawn. So Fungi Ally, we sell spawn, and what I'm using here is a yellow oyster spawn. So it's an oyster mushroom that is going to fruit in the summer, so probably July, August, and it'll, on a tree this size, it'll live for 8, 10, 15 years. So I wouldn't expect it to fruit until maybe 2 years from now, and then continue to fruit year after year after year. I've seen some other folks have some really good success with the yellow oysters, so I'm excited to see how it does on this tree. One of the great things about the oysters, yellows or blues, is that they're really fast growing. So even on something like this, they'll grow out quickly, whereas, you know, shiitake if this was an oak, shiitake would probably take 4 or 5 years before it even started fruiting. So those are supplies that you're going to need, and essentially what we're going to do is cut little cookies into the tree. So we have these cookies that I've cut with a chainsaw, and I've got 1, 2, 3, and then 2 more in the back over here, 4, 5, for a total of 5. And they basically go around the entire tree. So the mycelium is going to be packed in here, and it'll grow down into the roots of the maple, and this is pretty wet ground, so it'll have access to moisture down there, and it'll grow up into the tree. Alright, so once we've got our spawn, this is yellow oyster spawn, we break it up into little tiny pieces. This one's already been kind of broken, and sometimes when you break up spawn, you really have to whack it really good. That mycelium is very strong. And yellow oyster has a delicious smell to it. It's kind of like this lemon cucumber-y smell to it. So both the mushrooms and the mycelium have that smell. And what we'll do is we'll just take one of these cookies out and put a layer of mycelium down at the bottom here. So we've got this mycelium packed in, and then we'll put the cookie back on top, and then jam more mycelium into the top of the cookie here. So one of these bags are a 5-pound bag, can do, you know, a log this size. You really want to pack the mycelium in so that it's not all going to dry out. In the Northeast, it's ideal to do this in April because it's generally so wet. So if you can do these inoculations, you know, when there's going to be a couple of days or a week or 2 of rain in your forecast, that'll really help your chances of success. And there we go, it's packed in pretty good. I'll add a little bit more to the side here. Okay, and then we'll take our nails and our hammer. Of course, you'll probably misplace your hammer at some point. Here we go. And basically we just want to tighten up this gap. So you can see how the gap is pretty big now, and we'll just try and make it a little bit smaller. So I'll put 1 nail here, you know, 1 here going down, 1 up, 1 down, so that it's well attached. And you really want to sink those nails in so this area gets tight, you know. And I'm going to put one more actually right in the middle here just to really get this tight up in there. Okay, and there we go. So we'll just repeat that for all 5. And you know, now this isn't loose at all. So some of the spawn right on the edge here might dry out, but the stuff that's really in there will be fine. And that's one of the reasons why it's nice to have big cookies. So this is maybe 3 or 4 inches deep, and I wouldn't go any smaller than this. You know, having the base layer be 4 or more inches deep is your ideal. And this will probably take, you know, a year or 2 to colonize, and then we'll be fruiting in 2 years in July. So that's inoculating yellow oysters on big stumps.